See here, we got audio recording, and then we got screen recording. Here we go. Okay, guys, we're here. We're gonna do something different today. Maybe it'll be a more consistent thing. Let's do some real-time color grading. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long this video is going to be. But I will put chapter markers at the end. So feel free to fast forward to the parts that interest you. If you've never seen a colorist work before, now's your chance. This is the kind of video that I actually like watching myself, even though I have 11 years of experience. I like seeing how other people do things. It gives me ideas. And yeah. Good thing. So I'm actually gonna do an HDR workflow with Dolby Vision. I'm not really set. I don't really know how to record the HDR screen whenever you're gonna try to show HDR and SDR. So really, the only real way to do it, the easiest way for me, because remember I'm trying to do this consistently, is to just have a camera right here, look over my shoulder, and film what I'm looking at. So you guys can kind of see. So whoever doesn't quite understand HDR, this is the missing component when you can actually see the different screen that the colorist is looking at. So on the screen recording, which you'll see, the graphic user interface, that's going to be a more grayed out image, right? And then this is going to be the proper one. So let's see here. So let's pick something from Artgrid. I picked something yesterday. I downloaded a whole story. We're just gonna drop it in, make a new timeline, and start grading. I got the master timeline set, so I don't even have to edit it together. Like I really don't want to spend my time editing. We're just gonna grade the whole story. If you guys know what I'm talking about, any Artgrid users out there. If not, and you're considering Artgrid, just use my link. You get 2 months free. It's in the description. And let me see here. They always, or the top creators usually, they upload multiple takes or different angles of scenes, where an editor, which I've done in the past as well, would use them as inserts, as B-roll, and really weave together a nice cohesive scene, right? Close up, long shot, wide shot, tracking shot, all that stuff. But we're just gonna grade the whole thing, not worry about editing. But we're gonna make up some kind of story to guide our creative process, right? So before we get started, let me make it dark in here. Yes, before I forget. Oh, and I gotta do this because I forgot to do this at the beginning. Whatever happens, happens, gentlemen and ladies. Let me take this will help me later to do this. And then this camera. Okay, okay. I think that's good enough. Just to kind of match, because I'm not really gonna color grade these cameras. I'm just gonna try to transform it so you guys can see like a more realistic view. Whew. This monstrosity here, I actually have it on a table, so can't get it high enough. So let me close these blinds, shut off this light here, and the way it's gonna work, people, and hopefully I'll be doing these more frequently, is I'm gonna treat you like a person who's just shadowing me, right? Not necessarily teaching, but observing, and I might explain things along the way, but really this is just, I'm just going to be thinking out loud, right? So let me shut this light off as well. Oh, let me make sure this camera's recording over here. Yeah, it's like I got this whole gambiarra, right? What we say in Portuguese. This whole man, what's that show? It starts with an M. MacGyvering of everything here. I got gaff tape as my best friend today. So, okay, Okay, that's still recording. Audio's recording. Boom, this is recording. Yep, I see it. And let me lower this media light a little bit. This changed my life, people. Like this light, biaslighting.com. I don't have to have it completely dark in here, but it rests my eyes. Like my eyes don't suffer as much. Because these lights are D65 perfect. Okay? So I don't have to, you know, completely have it pitch black, which I do like to see the sunlight, but that's the world of a colorist. Okay, another thing to keep it simple for me is I am going to play music because I like to listen to stuff while I work, but I don't want YouTube to flag me. So I will listen to my jam. I like my Bishop Briggs Pandora station, which is perfectly catered to all my likes. And I have not changed it in years. There we go. It's already playing. Awesome. I got some good music here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Gets me in the jam. Just, you know, have a little volume down. Okay. So feel free to listen to music. The only thing that you're going to hear is my voice. So you can actually play your own music and it won't conflict. Because I don't know what people's tastes are. So, and I don't want to complicate things. I just want to grade something, have you guys watch it. Hopefully people will glean something from it. And it keeps me sharp, which is the other reason why I want to be doing this more often. So I got my little pen here, a little Wacom tablet. Let's open up Resolve and start. We're literally starting from scratch, and it's gonna end when the look is finished. I'm just gonna grade one story from Artgrid. That's what they call it, like all the uploads of a creator for a certain subject. I guess that's the right word to use. And yeah. Okay. Untitled project. Let's do this. Today is the 9th, right? 09. Let's call this real-time grading, and I like to do revisions instead of versions, and 3 numbers, and start at 0. Okay, so media page. I'm still getting used to this pen, but it is much better than a mouse I've found so far. Let me see here. Where did I put this footage? Okay. Don't change it. I like the way I have things set. Okay. So, where this? So these are the clips that I brought in, people. And the way I have, let me just double check my settings here. Okay, this, that, video monitoring. Okay. And I'll try to zoom in as much as I can, but you know, it's not in here. Gotta get used to it. Okay. Okay. What are my RAW settings? Color management. Boom, boom, boom. Dolby Vision's on. Okay. My monitor can go up to 1600 nits. And it can't reach 2000, so I go to the next level down because I know it can definitely master 4000. Even though it reaches 1600. And I've already calibrated it with light illusion. Steve is amazing. at customer service. He's the man. No S-curve. I don't like using that. Oh, the other thing here that's different in the way I grade, I actually check this. I like the way it reacts to the luminous mixer when it's at 0, when it defaults to 0. I can always change it per grade. And then local version of new clips and timeline, which means I like using remote grades. But when I'm scrubbing really fast in the source viewer, this is what this means. It means that I'm not going to see my graded version in the source viewer. I'll have to manually change it later, which means that I can scrub faster. That's the only... So basically this line right here can basically read... Can just the same read use local version while scrubbing in source viewer, right? So this is kind of misleading sometimes. And I already have this checked and it's grayed out because I already dropped in footage. But the cool thing is when you just want to grade and you have the master timeline checked, you already, and I have a timelines folder, you already have a timeline. So I can literally just shift 6 and I'm in the color page and I can start right away. But before we do, I think these are in slow motion. I like watching things real time. I don't like watching things in slow motion. You lose the feeling of it. You know, because that's just the nature of like when you sell stock footage, you want to give them as many frames to work with if they want to do slow motion. But let me see here. Yeah, that's slow motion. But you see how this was already log here, right? I have not done any color grading, but because I'm working in a wider color space, over here already looks almost like I've transformed it, which I haven't. I've done nothing. Like I'm WireGB. I'm DaVinci WireGB. I'm not color managed here. I'm color managing myself basically. So I have not set anything up yet. So I know that this is Arri Amara because that's what the creator said when they uploaded it. And because it's not raw, it's ProRes. Let me see here. Yeah, it's ProRes. Still has the same quality. You can still grade it, but it doesn't keep the raw info. So you gotta guess what's the original frame rate by just making an educated guess. So these are all filmed in 25, and it looks to be twice as slow. So it's probably like a European country. Yeah, Azuroto. So they use PAL a lot. So instead of 60, I think the original frame rate is going to be 50. So let's change that. Change them all at once and see how that plays, if it feels natural. Did I change it? Guys, and I put markers where the grading actually starts, so feel free to skip ahead. Oh, okay. That looks normal. Yeah, he's like grooving. See, I would have never caught that. If I did not put this in real time, I would have never known that the guy is actually dancing to background music. Because everything's in slow motion. You just think that he's moving. So you lose the concept. That's why I don't like editing and grading. So, but now I know that since they filmed it in high frame rate, I can always stretch it out. And I have those frames and it'll be super smooth. But here's the thing, as a colorist, I know that if I want to keep it like this and it was shot at high frame rate, they lost the natural motion blur. So when you go from high frames to plain and normal, You don't want that staccato. Everything's too in focus as things are moving. There's no motion blur because the shutter was going like that really fast. So I would have to, as a colorist, to keep it natural, as if they shot it in 24 frames a second, I would have to add motion blur. So I'm already making a mental note. Later, I will add some motion blur as part of my grade. So Shift 6, look, we're already on the master timeline. We do not need to create a master timeline or a timeline ourselves because I already have my project settings set to master timeline. So let's do some color management, and let me see here, F4 to source. See, look, my source is changing there. On the top, the corner, if I press F3, let me see, what did I press it to? And that's record. So record, source. I like ordering it in source because I can kind of see when they film things, so I know, hey, this is great. Same like story, right, that we can create, two different scenes, same actors, right? You got interiors, so let's do this. Let's add it into a new group. Interior. So this is a cocktail party. Oh, I forgot these right here. Add into current group. And then these, add into new group. Exterior. So, and sometimes when I'm really thinking, I like the quiet as well. Let me see here. Okay, guys, let me press save. I also don't like live save because it might overwrite something and I don't have a way to get back to it. So looking at this, all these scenes, all these shots, you got some, make this a little smaller. And this is, I think is struggling to play back because I'm trying to do everything with this computer, including screen records. So let me, my image scaling. Actually, let me double check to see what this is at. Okay, this is UHD. This is 38. It's not DCI. So let me change that real quick. Okay, a scale full frame of clock. Awesome. So now I will do UHD. So I know it's that. But I actually want to lower it by half. And just play it at 1920, 1080 for now. And I'll remind myself to change it later, just to go faster. But you see how it gets a little smaller in my screen? Because I actually set my monitoring to always be at the resolution of that monitor. So it serves as another mental reminder for me that, hey, I got to change the timeline back. You get me? But this is just to play it faster while I'm reviewing things. And really, I don't need to grade at full resolution until I start getting into things like sharpness and grain and whatnot and like little tiny details. But for the most part, I can stay like this and grade like this because I can see the whole image and how all the colors are interacting much faster. Like I got my my grading panel down here. I don't think you can see this, but then I have my keyboard here, speed editor here, and I have a tablet here. Here we go. So things are much quicker when you do it like that. When you basically, I've divided it by half. You can also do this, timeline proxy resolution by half. I basically did it manually. And if I do it one more time again, it will be a quarter. So let's see here. But this is not as, it won't gain you as much playback as just doing it, like changing the timeline processing. Because you'll still process a high resolution even if you go to half. So, and then it will just at the very end, it will take away the extra stuff it doesn't need. So let's do this. Okay, so that is at 3840, 2160, which is basically HD. 1920 by 1080, which I have this set. So let's go back to this. So looking at all this, and I'm gonna play some shots here. So this guy, there's a scene of him dancing here. Oh, one thing to note, people, is that whenever you change the resolution, sorry, not the frame rate, after creating the master timeline, I'll show you this. It keeps the same clips, because remember, these were twice as long. So at the halfway mark of each of these clips, the media is going to go offline, basically. You see that? Right at the halfway mark. So nothing to be afraid of. It's just because the master timeline is like a locked in stone kind of thing. The minute you drop it in, it creates it. So just something to be aware of. But I can create looks like this, and this is a cool thing too. Like when people know that they're going to use certain shots, a lot of times before the picture lock, I'll ask my client, hey, just show me the shots. You know, I can already start creating a look, and then when they give me the picture lock, because I did remote grading, the actual picture lock cut will inherit the grades, and then I can switch to clip level grading or local grading and do some final adjustments. You get me, like windows and stuff like that. I try to keep everything like no tracking while I do remote grading. So let's see here if I'm already at. Am I? Yes, this is remote already. See? Remote version 1. Awesome. So let's go back here. Let's just check out some of these shots. So this is one of the guy laughing. Hand reaching to the plate. Guy being playful. Telling joke. This cocktail party. Kind of zooming in, everybody. Okay, that would be a good place to like grade right there, just to make sure it works. Close up of the guy telling the story. He's the life of the party. Another close up. Let me see here. This guy thinking, really enjoying that wine. Close up of hands. She's really interacting. Passing the plate. He's holding the plate and talking. So if I was an editor, like this, you can make a really tight sequence of a lot of these with this shot. Like you can make a good 30-second, you know, like it tells a nice, it has a lot of good angles. Like this, for example, like the focus is here when they're passing, and then you'll go to this shot. Does he take it? No, he doesn't take it. So that one of him holding it, does he pass it here? Well, that's a close up to this one. So I might not use that one. I'll probably use it by itself, not side by side, but then this is continuous. So like when he reaches up and gives it, his hand goes away. And that could be the continuation of that shot right there. See, so that's how you kind of cut things together. So exterior, awesome. The focus is from his hand to the guy's face. He's reacting, okay. Now you got the interior shot, he's cooking. This could happen maybe before everyone gets there, or maybe afterwards. Like that was like the appetizer. And then people are in like the living room already inside his house. And he's preparing something. Let me see. And then his wife comes to keep him company. It's like, oh, thank you for doing this, honey. You're the best. The guests are really enjoying themselves. Okay, she's going back to the table, and he's like, okay, love you too, bye. Man, I'm having this idea now. Okay, wait. As I'm watching this, remember, guys, because color grading, you can't just. I'm not in the business of color correcting. I don't want to just correct the footage. I want to tell a story with it. So I'm looking at all these shots, because remember, I'm basically being the director right now and saying and making up a story as I go because this wasn't sent to me. This is just something I picked up on Artgrid to stay sharp. But I have this idea. You see, look, this is a good shot of like she walks up from far away. Let me go back. Oh no, I think this is the one. The camera tracks a little bit and then it meets there. Awesome. So close up hands. Okay. Okay. He's pouring wine. He's really going for it. Oh, he may be going a little too heavy on the wine. That's another story you can be telling yourself. He's really going for it. Okay, now she's back. Now there's more people in the shot. Yes, they are in the other room. So my assumption was correct. Okay, now he's talking. The men are talking. The wives are talking. So see how... Okay, maybe business deal gone wrong, something like that. They seem a little bit, but it seems to be pretty jovial for now. Excuse me. Okay. That wasn't the wife. That's the friend. She's talking to the wife. Okay, that's a nice little hero frame too. He's in a more well-lit condition. This is all pretty natural lighting. So I don't need to I don't think they kind of set up just just some practicals around the area. So okay, so this is the story that I'm kind of telling myself here. And let me take off my headphones real quick and press pause on this music because now I'm really getting into the zone. Okay. I don't know if you guys ever saw movies like these thriller kind of movies, maybe even horror, so that because I look at this and I'm like, oh, maybe there's a tint of a tinge of sinister to it. Maybe this is we don't want to paint a super happy picture. We can go the other way with it. So this is they're all smiling and laughing. But maybe this is a part of a bigger movie where maybe these people all have committed crimes or something. You get me? Or they're all about to die. Someone's going to come and kill them. Whatever. There's something sinister about to happen. And this is kind of like a calm before the storm kind of thing. Tension moment. You get me? Especially you can create that when he's alone and right here. You get me? So I'm just thinking of music people can make and stuff like that and for this. So as a colorist now I'm thinking, so now let's go to another website here. I like looking at ShotDeck to get some ideas. See, like that. Get Out. Look at that. I mean, I don't know if this is the screen from Get Out, but he was the actor in Get Out. So let me see here. Let me just browse. Browse shots. Just to kind of, I wouldn't know what to type in, to be honest. Sinister? Maybe I can type in sinister. And I kind of just looking real quick before I start grading, just to do a lot of shots, because it kind of resets my eyes to what contrast should be. But we get to decide that. I can do 1-for-1 matches, but I like to be inspired instead and do my own thing. There was that one movie that I saw where the family was hunting people, and she was a newlywed. I don't know what it was called. Man. Family hunting? I don't know. No, I'm getting let me see here. Let me just look up sinister, see what shows up. So I know it's gonna have like, I'm thinking more in terms of like green in the shadows and like maybe like some warmth in the faces. So not your regular like orange teal kind of look, but a little bit more green. So not as much as like an action movie, but kind of like see, I see some patterns here, kind of like this. Yeah, that can be a good. See, that's what I'm thinking of in my head. Like this kind of skin tones, because it's already warm in there, but then have a little bit more green in the shadows. How do I get back? Oh. Okay. Let me look up this movie. Movie where family hunts new bride. Ready or Not, that's what it was. Okay. So that's like a perfect, because in the beginning, I remember that movie, they had like a cocktail. It was like a wedding, but something similar so it was about to happen for the rest of the movie. So maybe, let me get some inspiration for that. So, Ready or Not. Okay, that's part of a still from this movie. So let me click here, follow the breadcrumbs. There we go. Okay, yeah, something like that. So yeah, they had some green, like this. Look at that. They had some green. They had some warm. So I'm not too far off, because I think people come to that same conclusion. This feels like a horror movie. This doesn't feel happy-go-lucky. You get me? Look at some other stills. I'm not going to bring these in, because I just want to have it fresh in my mind. I don't want to really copy it, per se. But I just want to see kind of where they headed. You get me? Okay, look at this. This is really pushed right here. A lot of green. But the blacks are still black. Look at that. The darkest parts are still black. So it's more like the lower tones. So if you haven't ever seen this movie, good movie. I think I saw it recently, or I saw it when it came out. But I think the reason why it was in my mind fresh, I think I saw it, I think on one of these streaming platforms. Like it's available to watch now. It came out in 2019. Look at that. Okay, Ready or Not. Yeah, so that's really the flow of the movie. So I don't know who colored this. Colorist Chris Wallace. So I'll look him up one day. Good color, good color. It stuck out to me when I remember the color of a movie. Like they. But a lot of factors go into it. Cinematography, all that stuff. But we have the honor and the privilege to be the last people to touch the footage. So let me actually go to the movie, like the. Okay, I'm already here. So you see how it started? Okay, you can kind of tell how the movie started. See how it's like, Ready or Not. Even the font portrays like, yeah, it's not this really happy movie. So they did have some bridal. Some bride, because it's a wedding. But you got this one person in the corner, crazy grandma. This is probably the brightest it's ever going to be in this movie. But it still has that feel to it. But it's exterior. But it's more well lit than our exterior, because we have an exterior, but it's already dusk. So this is a little bit like time of day on this one. Like I'm thinking about how I'm going to grade mine. This is it's a earlier time of day. Ours is closer to dusk. So if I go down here, see, this is interior shots. So that's kind of how we can do it. You guys are seeing the process here, man. I don't start grading right away. Try to get some inspiration. So this is more like the time of day. Like this is like early morning. But yeah, we don't have no blood in our shots, but it's that same palette. You see like the little greens, this kind of orange, this kind of skin tone. Of course she has blood all over her face, but that's part of the story. So if you guys haven't watched it, I will not ruin it for you. But it's a good movie. Yeah, crazy movie. but it puts yourself in like a what if, like, man, what if this happened to me? What would I do? You get me? And it's kind of like it's painted as a comedy and horror, so it's not super like, it doesn't mean to like scare you completely. Like it wants you to kind of follow along with it. So let me click on Chris Wallace, see what happens. So this is this guy's style. This is another shot that he's done. I am not a, I have 11 years experience, but as a full-time colorist, only about 2. But in terms of color grading as a whole, I've done it for 11 years. But I'm trying to get into only jobs working as a colorist, like not trying to do everything A to Z. So maybe I should know who Chris Wallace is. Apologies if I don't. But I'm staying busy, if you know what I mean. Let me see here. Yeah, so I guess some of the same scenes. Yeah, so I want to do something like that. And then the contrast. You guys see the hair? Hair. Contrast is really, like, it's black, but it's not like, you still got a little, it's a little lifted, you can tell. But it goes pretty black. Like the black in between these tiles, that's black. So this is a little lifted compared to that, if you look at it. So yeah, okay, cool. Got my idea. I might revisit this after our grade is done. So I think I wanna grade it. Let me shut off the music for a little bit. I won't have to play it that. Well, don't know, press play right as of yet. Okay. So let's do that. Let's make it a sinister grade. Like something's gonna happen. And these could be the good guys, these could be the bad guys, who knows? But like we want to paint it as like this is almost like the calm before the storm kind of thing. And the whole movie, fake movie that this is a part of is something terrible is gonna happen. Like maybe these people are all gonna get kidnapped, maybe this one guy is drugging them, and it's a story about how they're surviving, who knows? So let's do it, let's have that kind of story. So instead of trying to paint this to be like super awesome and happy and like these people, you know, because remember, we can go multiple ways of color. This is beyond color correction. With color grading, I'm trying to tell a story. So if the goal was to make this like super happy, like all these people became debt free and they were celebrating them becoming debt free, and it was like, you don't know the struggles they went through, and this is like the final celebration, and they finally, like, all these people had troubles and now they're finally friends again, or the wife used to be divorced, or they were split up and they came back together, and this is like the end of a movie of struggles and this is like the happiest scene, then I would grade it completely different. But now I'm trying to think like, I just got to pick a direction and go, right? So let's think in terms of like, okay, something bad is gonna happen, but we don't know what yet, right? So these are the shots that we're working with. So let's go back into let me turn this on so you guys can see what keys I'm pressing, because I forget that people. Okay, you can see, so this little thing here, that's the keys that I am pressing. Okay, so let's do this. I gotta record. Okay. Let's do some color management before we start grading. Remember, we're not grading yet, and I color manage everything by hand, so there's nothing happening. So if I wanted to make it Dolby Vision, it needs to follow certain rules. So let's do this. On the timeline level, let's do my color management. Color space transform. I am using DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate as my timeline color space. It doesn't really do anything when you color manage like this, but this right here determines how your tools will react. So let's do this. Use timeline and then output. I want to P3D65. Now I'm using the mouse, guys, because to do the zooms, which is beneficial for you all, it's much faster with my mouse. But I do like using the pen for everything else. Let me see here. ST2084, 1000 nit. Okay. So that already kind of changed. Just to kind of make this bigger, let's change this back to UHD real quick because we're not really playing anything, so I can see this bigger on my screens, and you guys can too over my shoulder. Look, I'm already noticing this little thing right there. There's like an artifact. So with some proper color management on the front end, I might get rid of that, but I'm definitely aware of that. You see that right there? I'm aware that that is happening. So let's make this bigger so you guys can see it. You guys got to know this. Look. This is where it's at, people. Enhanced viewer, full page viewer. Know this. You got the Shift F and the Alt F. That will change your life. Because, you know, we don't have dockable panels, but you don't miss it if you know how to use that kind of stuff. And I actually like the fixed panels in DaVinci. I do not miss dockable panels. So let's do this. P3 limited. Let's just label this so I don't forget. I already know it's at 1000. And then luminance mapping. I'll just keep it like that. And then this will be scene to display. Okay, so that's the output side of it. And then the input side of it, because we have two groups that we're working with, right? This is the group, the pre-clip. Let's do Arri Amara, but I'm gonna make it a shared node. Save as shared node so I can turn it off and on in whichever group that I'm in. So let's just label this Arri Amara. So I know that the Amara is an older Arri camera. So it might not be wide gamut 4, but we'll try both. And this will be scene to scene, so I don't need to apply an inverse or forward because nothing's changing. It's going from a camera color space to a working color space, which they're both scene referred. So I do not, oh wait, I gotta unlock this node. Here we go. I was making all these changes, no wonder nothing was happening. So you guys can still see that. That's what I'm looking at. Arri wide, Arri log. Hey, look at that. Well, maybe that's not an artifact, those little blue dots. Maybe that is like two little lights in the back on the refrigerator or something. And then I'm gonna do luminance, just to kind of keep it at, you know, I don't want to do too much. To be honest, I can leave it at DaVinci. And then I want to do uncheck this. There we go. Because DaVinci is assuming that when I'm going from a color space like this, that forward is being used, but I don't need it because I'm going from scene to scene. Then I'm going from scene to display in the timeline right here. So let's go back to DaVinci. No difference. Where's my phone? Always gotta check to make sure nothing's happening at my child's school. And I could set this. This decision needs to be done in the front end, which sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Haha, look at that, people. We get to see how everything gets affected. How about this group? We can always bring this down. Like, I really don't want that to be super lit. Because remember, this is like a... This right here is optional. It's more for... like when you go in HDR to SDR, trying to keep it more the same. So these are the decisions, guys, that when you're color managing at the beginning, which you'll be doing if it was even color managed by, you know, you doing DaVinci color management or ASIS or whatever. It's a similar thing. I'm just doing it with nodes. So I'm just making certain decisions that I know once I make them, I am not changing it because my grade will happen within this. So let's... And the cool thing about having it like this in a node, this is the very last node. This is my timeline node. If I have another node, I just do a serial node, and it goes into Rec 709 or whatever, or blah, 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 or another color space. Or if I want to do it, deliver P3 inside of a 2020 container, I'll do it like that. But then this will stay the same, and everything in my grades will stay the same. I'll just render it out and tag it differently. Scene to display. Okay, that's good. Sometimes that changes automatically. Let's keep it darker. Let's keep it darker. Because I'm not really working with graphics right now, so I don't really need to worry too much about diffuse white level. Now let's go to pre-clip. Remember, we were doing a shared node here. Amira. Let's try number 4. Whew, yeah. So that's the thing about when it's not raw and it's ProRes. If it's filmed with an older color space, it will always need to use that older color space. So now let's go back. I mean, the gamma can stay the same, but to be honest, I think it doesn't look right. You see it's too pushed. So that's another clue. If you don't know what camera's from, that it's only too pushed, it's probably the wrong setting. People, what happened here? Oh, this way. Every time I change it here. Oh, you know what? I think this was clicking on every time I change this. So let me take this off. Ah, okay. Not that bad, but it's too magenta. Too magenta. I kind of like the C4 gamma. I gotta remember, like, sometimes this checks the apply forward OOTF. It gets turned on when I do this sometimes by DaVinci automatically, so I gotta watch out for that. Okay, now let's evaluate this again. Let's go to the other group. Let's do the shared node here. Copy. Paste. So whatever I change here is going to be changed in the other group. So that's why I do it as a shared node. To evaluate everything. Remember, input color space is where it's at. Now what about C3? Nope. What about wide gamut 4? You see the skin tone? It makes it more magenta. Can't really tell, but oh, I mean I can tell, but I don't know if the angle that I'm showing right now you guys can tell. Let's take this off. There we go. So wide gamut 4, a little magenta. I like to cheat a little bit. That's more natural. So now it's the choice between the gamma. So which gamma would I like? C4 or C3? I think C3 because that's C4 came out after this was recorded, so let's just stick with that. So now because I changed it here and it's a shared node, if I go to the other group, the pre-clip is already there as well. Okay. So see all the groups. Those are our interiors. These are our exteriors. Okay. Now let's go to what I like doing is really I want to reserve the timeline level. For my color management at the very end, because it will also deal with any text that I might need to do later for this fake edit. So let's do our look in the post clip. The thing that's making me pause to think is because usually, actually let's do it this way. Let's have our global things that are not gonna change per scene, because remember we do have 2 different scenes that we gotta worry about. So let's try to do some stuff that will affect everything first, then work in our exterior versus interior with the post clip, and then as a final pass I would give whatever thing each individual clip might need, right? And that's where most of the color correction will happen in terms of like matching the exposures and contrast of each shot. So I'm developing the look in the post clip and the timeline level. So let's do it. Let's do some serial nodes. Sorry guys, gotta check my phone. Okay, it's finished charging. Let me just keep it here just in case. So we've been recording for almost an hour. So hopefully you'll fast forward to this part. We did some color managing. I'm thinking about the idea that I want to do. So yeah, let's do that. So recently got these LUTs from Cullen Kelly. Gotta give credit to where credit is due. So I might try different things. I might try doing something with his stuff. I might try some film convert stuff. I'm trying to transform everything from camera now. Give it an overall look, because I've already color managed it basically. See, these are all kind of, I would raise the exposure to all of these. I would raise the exposure to all of these. So whatever I do here, it needs to benefit all these shots at the same time. And usually, picking the widest shot, if something works well wide, it will work close. So I'm gonna try to look at the widest shot. So let's do this. Let's select some of these shots that have multiple people in it. And let's go to selected clips. So I got 4 shots selected. So let's do this. 4 shots selected. Let's do, while looking at this stuff right here, let's pick some things. But I cannot preview my LUTs if it's... Oh, see, I passed the halfway mark. That's why I was going media offline. The halfway, remember that thing that I told you about? So stay on this half if you want to scrub with this live preview. Foundation. Bring up my scopes. So I'm looking right here. Looking at the top right corner too. Remember, we're doing our own thing. We're not necessarily copying the other look, but I know that I want to introduce some green and stuff like that into the shadows later on. I should look through the descriptions of these LUTs to make sure that I know what each is doing because I haven't used them in a while. Corvus. There's Corvus. There's I like Corvus. Cygnus. Nope. Corvus. Nope. Now I'm looking at the light. Bottom left. Corvus. Maya. Corvus. Nope. Corvus. Ryan. Versa. Corvus. Corvus is the winner. Next node. I clicked next on the panel, it went there. If I go next, see, that's happening behind these. Man, I'm seeing some banding there. It's probably the quality of. Hopefully, it's not the quality of the. So the footage, you know, it's ProRes 422 is not the best. So, but we'll make it do. Just be aware. The more you push this, the harder it'll get. That's probably just because I'm doing the split screen. So let's do this. Now I'm gonna pick. I'm doing the Kelly color version of stuff first, and then I'll see what other transform I might throw in there. Modifier. Ah, that introduces some green. That's more red. That's a little bit more green. That's too blue. That's some magenta in the skies. Myra. Okay. Electra. No. This. So it's between Alcor and Myra. I do Myra because it's a little lifted. It's more lifted. If you can look at these scopes here, so there is green. So if I, oh, and the other reason why people I like color managing with nodes completely is that when I click bypass, it really does bypass everything. This is what I started with. This is where we are now. You get me? Like it bypasses everything. I get to do that really quick. I don't want to bypass just the tree in front of me and then know, oh, it's still being color matched. It's like something's, the signal's passing through this kind of color. Like I don't want to think about that. I want to know what I'm doing and see what I'm doing and be able to turn everything off at once. Alcor or Myra? Alcor? Myra's a little bit more lifted. I'll do that because it benefits both of the interior and the exterior better. Alcor really just benefits the exterior shots because it's too crushed. Myra. Now, let's add some more green if we can. Next node. See, See, I'm not zooming in, so I might as well go back to using the pen. Sorry guys if you can't see this. Like I said, I'm trying to simplify things, and whatever happens, happens. And if this sucks, if you can't see because it's, you know, a bigger screen, more pixels, then sorry. This is there. Okay, before I even decide on this, it's just everything is just too dark. So let's just do this. Let's add another one. And let's do HDR. Let's do HDR offset. See how that helps. Just exposure. Woo! Get bright, get bright, get down. Let's do it this way. Let's go down here. Do 1.5 stops. Keep it like that. Yeah. Maybe 1.25. Now let's do quarter. Keep some of that darkness still. Because I do not need to see. Let's go 1. Let's go 1. And now maybe I can just lift the dark real quick. Nope. Not good. Remember, you don't have to see everything. But I am crushing. And here's another thing too, guys. I'm testing myself to see, you know, stay sharp and see how fast I can do things. It usually takes me about 2 hours to do a grade. But once the look is done, when I go from shot to shot to shot to shot, it's much faster. Like I'm looking at like global adjustments right now without tweaking individual shots. You know, I'm trying to do it that way. You know what? I'm not even using this. Let me put my tablet a little bit closer in the middle so I can use these keys. I'm looking up there. just this one node. That was all just this node right here. Man, I almost want to lower this down. I just barely see the bottom left, the crease in her shirt. You get me? Because that is a nighttime scene. We don't have to see everything. Like, we know that there's people talking to each other. Like, you don't have to, like, it's over. Like, when people are color grading, they try to save all the shadows and everything. You don't have to do that. Global. Let's just do this. Global. Just so I kind of know what I did. And to be honest, guys, I'm purposely not using a fixed node tree on this one because, hey, we're creating something from scratch, a new one. When I do stuff like this a lot just for fun, if I find myself doing something more than once, a couple for multiple looks, I'm like, oh, okay, that can be another fixed node tree idea because I have a bunch of other fixed node trees that I do use. So, yeah. And I'll still work on this, on the interior group separately, right? Like, but this is a much better exposure. So let's go back to picking our foundation. We're at Venus right now. Dun, dun. Looking at how it treats the reds too. Looking at the green shirt on the top right and her face as well. Now I'm looking at the interiors. Mercury. Mercury. And the bottom right face. So I think this best serves everything, Mercury. Because the top is easy because it has light, but then Mercury, because it's, you know, darker setting, I like how it treats her face right there on the bottom right. Let me put it right here so you can see what I'm looking at. If you can't see the other screen. Yep. That's the winner. I'm looking at my reference monitor. Now, let's go to the last one. Pick a modifier. And go boom. Boom. That's black and white. Don't need that. You see how there's already green in the shot? Because I introduced it with an up, a downstream LUT. Oh, hey, this is closer to where we want to go. Ophelia. Kari. Hyperion. Ophelia. So now it's not as saturated as I want it to be, but remember I can bring that back. This is more like I'm getting in a closer direction, right? Because like yeah, because like it doesn't need to be like, we're trying to create that sinister mood, and sometimes you can create sinister with saturated colors, so we'll bring those back. But sometimes desaturation helps a little bit too in certain areas. So bypass everything. This is where we're at right now. So start it like this. If you look at that screen. And then like this. And guys, let me preface this by saying, I should have said this at the beginning. I'll put a little note. Stick around to the very end, because when I do the Dolby Vision trim, then we don't have to rely on this anymore. Like you guys can see it, because this is graded for, this is calibrated for Rec 709. The bottom monitor here. So you guys will see it exactly the way it's intended to be seen. So, but I can't do it right now because I have to start grading in HDR first, the way that workflow works. And a lot of colorists have problems with this, you know, because Dolby's taking over everything and blah, blah, blah. But I kind of do like, you know, the workflow. It's nice. It serves everybody. It just creates a problem now because I'm trying to show you guys the process. So, you know, it's hard to do when you have two different shots and you're trying to show people how it is. But, hey, we're getting there. I think Ophelia, that was the last one. So, Ophelia, Mercury. That was the combination that I used. Myra, Corvus. So let's do this. Create compound node. Organize stuff a little bit. And just label it Voyager, because that's what he calls these LUTs. So I know that's everything travels through that. Global exposure. These two. Now everything. Do all these. Everything goes. There's it accounts for the input color space as well. If I just do these, it's not muting the it's not muting the input color space. Yeah, I like it. Even brings out the sky a little bit over here. Nice. Okay. And guys, I'm not really on a time crunch, so I promise you, when there's a paying client, I do work much faster, but I'm kind of having fun with this. I'm kind of just thinking, where do I want to go? I want to take it nice and be intentional. Not necessarily be slow, but be intentional. Because I don't want to go backwards. That's the thing. So that wasn't an artifact. I think those are just two little lights. See? And I'm definitely going to have to do some noise reduction. Once I get to the very end of the grade, I won't worry about it now. But yeah, there's definitely some noise. Okay. Shortcut isn't working. Oh well. Okay. You know what? Let's keep on working timeline level. Let's do that. Remember how we're just working backwards, people. That's usually how it is when you color grade. Maybe I like this at the beginning. Yeah, I'll do some of this stuff. Do some stuff in parallel. I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, if this, like, I would just go clip by clip and just. I don't need to do too much. Ah, this is annoying me. This whole, only because we did this. So let's do this. Only because we changed the frame rate. So let's actually make a real timeline. Remember, I don't have anything post clip. I have nothing clip and I have one pre clip. So let's just make a timeline still. Or still. So this will still have the timeline level. That's really the only thing we did so far. Close. Timeline 1. Okay, people. We are back to normal now. Now we're in a proper timeline. No master timeline no more. So master timeline is usually pretty awesome if you don't change the frame rate. So that's really that's the only caveat to using a master timeline. Ooh, that's bright. Okay, been recording for an hour and a half. Damn. Taking my sweet time. Right, guys? Sorry. I may very well just cut this up and make it faster for you guys. Let's go back to our selection. See, I'm trying to grade all these shots at once. How many do we have? There are 37 shots total. We got 37 shots, people. But the final edit may only use, a couple of these. So we're just pretending like this was already in a picture lock sequence. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Make a little note tree right here. printers. This is the way I usually like to do things. Okay. So I'll tell you like the theory behind this. So this I'm going to see if you guys can see this. Okay. Color space. Ugh. It's the only thing I don't like because I can't really zoom the way as fast as I can with the mouse. So color space, let's do a little HSL, HSV kind of thing. So HSL, channels, and this is for saturation. HSV. This will be printers. So I love printers because the concept with this, I don't want to get into printer lights until the saturation is like bumped up a little bit, and then later on down the line we can desaturate selectively, right? So that's the theory there. So HSL deset. Next node, HSV sat. And then I'll do this. This will be primaries. Hi Linda, I'm recording.
Oh, you have me. Okay, never mind. We wanted to see how your day was going.
Okay, love you.
Love you.
Bye. Okay. Log. And that's where I'm probably going to introduce some shadows. The colored shadows. See, I'm planning what I'm going to do before I start tweaking knobs, because that's really... And this will be any like HDR zones that I may or may not need. And then we'll see what happens. We'll get started here, and then we might add some more stuff down the line here before it hits this thing. Because I want these two to be the very last thing that my image goes through. You get me? But then for now, we'll do this. So... Okay. Let's do it. Let's see this. Okay, guys. On the panel here, See, I've been out of practice. So I just want to do, if I lower, I want to desaturate it as much as I can. It still has some character. This, I want to saturate. Back it up and go back and forth. I'll desaturate even more and then saturate. So what this does is that it increases saturation without increasing the luminance if you watch the waveform. So just these two nodes. See, I actually, yeah, control it, but it won't increase the top here, you get me? Oh, I forgot to change it to HDR. There we go. See, my limit is 1,000. It will clip above that. Because of this. And later on I'll clean up this node tree. But for now, you get to look at it in all its glory. All its messy glory. Okay. Because I like right-clicking and just saying clean up with node graph, but for now when I'm working, I'll keep it small and all scrunched up to the side, just for me. So, let's keep on going back and forth. Next node, increase saturation. I'm looking up there. Decrease saturation. Now it gets more sensitive. Ooh, I'm looking at the top. Yeah, let's keep it there. Let's keep it around there. I'm like killing these shadows. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pre-clip on the interior and raise it up some more just for the interior shots. Interior only exposure. Okay, let's see. Interior only exposure. Still have the micro panel. So there's no button for me to switch over to. No, I'm clip level. No, no, no. Free clip, that's what I wanted to do. Free clip. That's not a shared node. There we go. So the bottom two should go up, you see? Yeah. So now I got the bottom two going up. Because it's just a little bit too crazy dark. It's not, you know? Now let's do some of this stuff right here. Exposure. Just the shadows. Got precision mode turned on. and I feather it. So this is the position, this is the feathering, this is the amount. Okay. Oh, she's pregnant. I did not notice that before. Look at that. That's the power of bringing stuff out in the edit. So we brought one thing out before by changing the frame rate. We didn't know he was dancing. You know, they're jabbing, and then she's pregnant. Look at that. Like, you don't notice these things. I mean, you guys probably already noticed, but I'm looking at all the different little details, and I completely missed it. What if I add some dark? I like to go and, you know, usually I'll... Damn. Wow. I did a lot. Holy crap. So I can probably even step back the exposure to keep some of that oomph. Woo! Nope. Went the other direction. I mean, I love the HDR palette. But now you see you're exposing the noise, right? So I think I'm gonna have to denoise this group separately than the other group. So to be honest, the other group might not even need it. So let's do some noise and then I'll turn it off. But for now, let's just do some noise. Let's try one for now. Oh, it's actually not bad to do noise on the whole thing because this is where I was going to put motion blur in anyway. So the more, I should probably, you know, do a lot more frames because remember this is going at 50 frames a second instead of 24. Okay. Motion. Look guys, this is what I'm looking at here. See that? I'm looking at it in my reference monitor as well. Got rid of some, but not all. The motion blur I was actually going to add on everything as a shared shot. So let's do this. Save as shared node. Unlock it. Node label. Motion blur. Since we're already in the motion palette. Because remember, this was filmed very, very high frame rate, so I might as well do 100, and it also helps with the noise a little bit. So, see, look at her hair. It's much more natural now, as if it was filmed in 24 frames a second. See this little wisp of hair here? Very staccato, right? To use an opera term or classical music term. very staccato. You can feel it. It's very like every frame, but then here is more blended, more natural, because this was moving in real life, and this is how we see things naturally with that natural motion blur. So I don't mind going all the way up to 100 because they filmed at high frame rate. You get me? But it does double duty, where it also helps me with noise. See, it also helps me with noise. So now combining these two, look at that. Look at her face, look at the noise. Much more natural. Let's see if it even plays. Ooh, yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to turn it off while I'm working on the rest of the stuff because I'm getting like 10 frames. It's really going for it. So I don't have to get rid of it completely, all this noise. And to be honest, a movie like this doesn't need to be super sharp, so I'm probably not going to add sharpness and stuff like that to it. And I'm probably going to add a little bit of grain in the highlights. I like to add grain later on, so it kind of balances everything out. That makes it... I can probably add some noise here too in the midtones. Yeah, not bad. So we're just in this group for now. Let's go back to the timeline label. Let's label this before I forget. Interior exposure adjustments. Woo! Yeah. So now, for now, let's just turn these off and leave these off, knowing that we've already done that. Okay, now let's go back to timeline grade. Got my clips still selected that I'm color grading. Yeah, much better. So if I turn everything off, everything back on, everything off, everything back on. Okay, now let's do some printer lights while looking at both of these. To be honest, I might even do a parallel node here, because this is my little saturation kind of thing. I'm just doing saturation because I want my printers to be super sensitive. Alright, so let me do a parallel node. So this will be another saturation thing that I'll do. This is why I don't like doing that. I like to organize it. And then later on, when I widen everything out, I can press up, clean up node graph. But for now, I'll leave it as is. This, let me do HDR sat because I like how that reacts. Because it's color space aware. And then what I'll do, because remember, I'm not color managed. I don't know if this will make too much of a difference, but I'll put on HDR mode right now. Because I know this palette is already automatically color space aware, but it might not take because I am color managing with nodes. So don't know. But it's just one little click, so that's fine. This is what I want right here, the sat. I got a knob for that. Yep, there we go. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll saturate like a lot. and I'll cause like a selective saturation by doing a by turning the color boost down. So I can still stay in the HDR palette. So I can stay here. If you look down here, this is where my mouse is. But then I have the color boost, and I'll deboost it. So, because it lowers the saturation for highly saturated parts first. So I can do like increase saturation and lower your color boost at the same time, kind of thing. Or sometimes the reverse works well too. So let me reset this, reset that, and now let me decrease saturation and increase color boost. See how that works. Nah, it kind of loses the flavor. So let me reset, do what I was gonna do. So I'll increase saturation, and then because it goes a little bit too much, I'll deboost it a little bit.